You are listening to the Creative Women's League podcast. I'm your host and biggest fan, Kate Toney. Creative women entrepreneurs all over the globe turn to the Creative Women's League for social media advice, marketing help, and to get their minds in the mode to achieve bigger than they ever thought possible. Whether it's hearing the journey of your favorite creative badasses or the expert business advice shared, CWL is here for you with a whole lot of laughs, heaps of honesty, and endless support. Because over here, we know the secret sauce to building your creative empire all starts with motivation, inspiration, know-how, and community. If you want to exceed every goal, defeat the doubt, cast out fear, and connect with your fellow creative Wonder Woman, well, my dear, it's time to join the Creative Women's League. Hello. Happy Wednesday. I am so excited to share this episode with you guys. It has been waiting in the wings for far too long. It needs to see the light of day. This episode is amazing. So many fantastic social media tips. Organically building your following, getting involved with the people who care about you most in your tribe, and making money from the time you have just a few thousand followers. Fantastic. On one product launch. You guys are going to love this. I can't wait. Emily Dennis shares fantastic insights in this episode, and you do not have to be a quilter to get the most out of them. You're gonna love her. This podcast episode is sponsored by the Wild Sweet Pea Quilt and Embroidery Co. Owner, maker of textile home goods, and quilt pattern designer Paige Anderson strives to reduce textile waste by incorporating sustainable business practices in her work, such as using remnants, salvaged materials, and using natural dyes. Shop embroideries, quilts, bags, and original patterns at thewildsweetpea.com/links. And use the code CWL20 for 20% off your purchase. And watch for the Fleetwood quilt pattern release later this month. And check out the Desert Angles quilt pattern in Make Modern magazine, issue number 23. Get her debut pattern, the Millennial Quilt, for free, you guys, on her creative process blog, thewildsweetpea.com/words. I love Paige Anderson. I am so happy she actually won this ad over on our Instagram. So if you aren't following on Instagram at Creative Women's League, get over there. Get involved in the community. I love knowing you guys. It is my favorite part of this whole process, is knowing and helping you. And hey, you could win the next contest and I could be talking about you to all of our listeners. So, I mean, hey, get over there. Should I say hey again? Hey. We also have the Facebook group, Creative Women's League, over on Facebook. Get involved. Get over there. I love getting to know you. So this week I learned something interesting. The number one thing that you can do to support the podcasts you love is hit the subscribe button. This is the metric that iTunes, Podbean, everyone seems to appreciate above all else. So if you want to get this podcast to other people and you want to do it with minimal effort, be sure you hit that subscribe button. That's all it takes. And I'll love you forever and ever for it. Okay? Forever and ever and ever. You should post a picture of the portion that says subscribe on your iTunes or Podbean or Stitcher. Post it to your stories and I'll share it. I would love that. That'd be amazing. I'll give you a shout out right on the Instagram. Last week, I announced how I have been taking on coaching clients, and it happened really organically. And it's been amazing to help people so one-on-one. But I was super nervous to share that. And I was dead wrong. I was, because you guys, as always, came out with support and excitement. I got so many messages, not just from people who want to work together. That was a wonderful thing to start to see messages come across about working together. But also just messages of support. You guys are always there with a, you go girl, you got this, way to go. And it's awesome. It's truly amazing I cannot stress enough how if you really need some support, get into the Creative Women's League. These women are here for you. So thank you so much to everybody. I can't wait to work with all of you. And if one-on-one coaching isn't your style, that is no problem. That's not even kind of a problem. We aren't even going to refer to it as a problem. That's great. There's now going to be weekly blogs every Friday. And you also have this podcast. Starting with this episode is amazing. And I keep teasing it for you and not giving it to you. And that is so crappy. You are going to love this. So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you listen to Emily Dennis talk about growing her following, connecting with her tribe, and honestly, the reason why we're here, to make money. Even when she was at 2,000 followers, she started making great money. You can do it too. Have a listen. Hi, Emily. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you.
Awesome. So you're calling from Michigan.
Michigan, way up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, practically in Canada.
That is awesome. Yeah. Are you from that area?
Well, I'm from Lower Michigan. My husband's actually from this area, but it is the tiniest little remote area, about as far north as you can get in the U.S.
I love it. I love it. I've never been to Michigan. I would love to visit.
Oh,
come crash the party.
It's actually really pretty. I mean, come in the summer, but it's really pretty in the summer.
I've heard that. Everybody I know who's visited or people who've been from there, they say it's just really gorgeous.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have all the Great Lakes, so anywhere along the lakes is so pretty.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So before we dive in to your story and all this awesome stuff that we have slated to talk about, can you introduce yourself to everybody? Tell them who you are and what you do?
Yep. I am Emily Dennis, and I'm a quilter. And believe it or not, I quilt for a living now, which is really cool and funny for me to say. But I've been quilting. I started as a hobby back in 2012, so it's been a few years now. But I've turned it into a full-time job only more recently, and it's just been so much fun to grow this quilting business. And by quilting business, I think I've sold one quilt over all the years, so I don't sell quilts.
Yeah.
People are surprised to hear that. I sell quilt patterns. So I have an online business selling quilt patterns. And what I also love to talk about, which I need to do more of, is I actually love talking about the business side of things. So I'll write blog posts about it. I'll talk about it on Instagram. So most people follow me for my quilting, and I know a lot of people love getting those little business tidbits here and there. So
yeah, and that's what
I'm also.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. There's also, I guess, one other part of my story is that I'm also a photographer. So I started out as a photographer even before quilting. I turned that into a business, which led me down the road to quilting, turning that into a business. And that's where I am today. So.
Well, that makes so much sense. And it makes me feel, I don't want to say better. It wasn't like I was feeling like being nasty about it or anything, but your Instagram is so gorgeous. I mean, really, you've curated a gorgeous feed over there. And the photos, one of your photos I was looking at, I don't remember which one it was. And I was like, no, that's just stunning. And I don't think I would be able to compose a photo that way. But your history your background isn't doing that.
Yeah. So it's actually really interesting how, all of those skills I was able to carry over, and I think that's why the quilting thing came together so nicely, is because I could carry over the skills like photography and, a little bit knowing about the business side of things already. And, I don't know.
I think that's the best. And we've seen it a lot with the podcast where people are able to marry, their past lives together for their current creative, endeavor.
Yes. I think that's kind of a business, like a lot of people work who are in business. It looks like maybe I just one day opened an Instagram and made it happen, but really I've been at this for probably 15 years of, learning skills that brought me to like where I am today. So it was not an overnight thing. It wasn't even a last 5 years thing. It was more probably 15 years of just accumulating all those skills over the years. So.
I think that's really important, for all of us to remember too, is because from the outside, I think a lot, it does look like, well, she just started this Instagram, however many posts ago, and now all of a sudden she's doing so well. It's like, well, no, this has been a slow build. It's been a slow build.
It's always a slow build. Yeah. What is that saying about overnight successes? They're not true.
Yeah.
People don't see all of the, behind the scenes that went into it. And I think a lot of people you don't see those other things that attributed to where that person got to. So most people are bringing in, other things they've learned along the way. And it takes time. And if you're in it for the long haul, it's going to be worth it in the end. So.
Yeah, I am. Well, I guess it's probably because, I'm 29. So I did grow up a lot in like the get it instantly culture. Yes. So I think a lot of times we
all suffer from that.
Yes, the patience portion. Sometimes I'm like, no, I want this to be like full-fledged tomorrow, right now. Yep. It doesn't work that way. Dang it.
That's not always a bad attitude to have, though, because I think that sometimes makes us really hungry to keep going. True. If you don't get some rewards, it's discouraging. But like a lot of us, when we have that attitude, you just want to dig in and get something done. And so that's not always a bad thing, I think, to want things now, because it hopefully will make you work really hard right now too. So
yeah, I guess it's what you do with it, right? Any of these things, it's what you do with it. It's like, okay, come on. If you want the results tomorrow, you got to be putting in the work today. So,
and lots of work today.
Yeah, lots of it. So let's talk about like a photography. Where you started. Where were you a sewist before you started quilting?
No. So I'm actually a stay-at-home mom to 3 kids, and that was always kind of my thing. I got lucky enough where when I had my first daughter, I had a boss who allowed me to work from home, which was great. So I worked for him, but I was an independent contractor. So that was great because I was basically self-employed, doing my own thing. I didn't have anybody watching over my shoulder. So that was my start, was doing this billing job, medical bill from home. And I actually did that for many, many years. That's the job I quit just a year ago. So that's how I started. My baby was probably about 4 years old. I was bored. Most of my endeavors start out of boredom, believe it or not.
I love it.
I do not have a college degree. So my education is Google. And I had the hardest time accepting the fact that I could run a business even without a college degree. But I've gotten used to that after like 15 years of making it happen. It's just taken some time to, have that faith in myself that actually it's okay. It's okay to get my education from Google.
Absolutely.
So that's how I back in, I think it was 2011. So my baby was like 4 and I was bored. Picked up a camera. I always liked photography. I wasn't like obsessed with it my whole life, and I went to Google and I just started learning and learning and learning. And honestly, that's what drives me is my desire to learn. I love learning. Yeah. So you give me something to figure out, a challenge, and I am a happy camper. I'll just get on Google and figure it out. So that's what I did with the camera. Turned it into a business pretty quickly because, people started asking me to take their pictures and stuff like that. So I immediately knew I wanted it to be a business, something serious. And so I did all the research I needed to do, got all my education online for free.
Yeah, that's great.
Went with that. So, and then shortly after that is when I started quilting. And that was the first time I had really sewn. I actually did it as kind of unwillingly. I agreed to do a t-shirt quilt for a family member. So I figured, I'll figure out how to do a t-shirt quilt. So I went to Google, and I couldn't believe all these gorgeous quilts that were popping up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen quilting like this before. So even in those first couple of years, I started out very slow. I think it took me like 2 years to make 3 quilts. It wasn't until I started coming up with my own designs and stuff that people started asking me for those designs.
Yeah.
That was when, new challenge popped up. Oh my gosh, let me see what I can do with this. And I resisted for the longest time turning quilting into a business. I resisted it because you know what happens when you turn something into a job?
Oh, yes.
A job, it becomes a job,
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of wanted to keep it a hobby for a while. So I did resist it for as long as I could. And that didn't last very long because the challenge of making this into something was just too tempting.
I love that that's what drives you. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I've been able to connect those dots over the years. I think that's what motivates me. It's just that challenge, that constant challenge.
Yeah, that's great. So what happens when you stop resisting?
So I gave in.
Yeah.
So people started, there was one quilt in particular people kept asking about. And after enough people ask you if you have a pattern, you're like, all right, well, maybe I should have a pattern, right?
Yeah, I really should.
So I wrote the pattern, sent it, had people test it, made it as best I could. I put it out there. And I couldn't believe how well it did. It was like that. This was back in March of 2015. This is my hexy frame pattern. So if you're familiar with any of my stuff, you might know this one. But that first month I released it, like I made over $500 that month just selling a digital quilt pattern to people on the internet. And I was so blown away by that. And I instantly saw the potential. And then instantly more challenge and more just like, what could I do with this? So that was fun. I mean, that was pretty cool to create something people wanted and figure out a way to get it to people who wanted it.
Yeah. And I love how organic it kind of developed. It was one of those things where it's like one thing led to another that led to this. And now here we are.
Yeah. And, for me, it's always been that way because the photography was somewhat accidental. Also, people saw it, asked for it, and then I gave it to them. And this was the same thing. I was asked for it, which I guess is a lucky way to get into something. But I don't want to take away from people who are like, this is what I want to do, and they go after it. But for me, that's how it did work out. It was kind of organic. And then I saw the potential, and I was like, well, I'm going to go with this because this seems to be something I could do.
Yeah, it seems to be leading to something.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were younger, were you a creative spirit kind of a kid, an artist type person? Or was this pretty out of left field?
No, it's not out of left field. And I wouldn't consider myself like artsy. I guess I did take art classes, and looking back, even my kids would probably say I was creative, even though I don't know if I saw that in myself so much at that time. But yeah, there was always something. So before photography and before quilting, there was scrapbooking. So it's like, I think there was always like something creative going on in my life. I tend to be very monogamous with my crafts. So once I find something, I become obsessed and then get bored, move on, obsessed, move on, type of thing.
I love it though, because I've heard from a lot of people who say like, well, now my life has led me to this point where I want to start this business, but I don't even know if that's a smart idea since I don't have any background in it. I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I love Google University and YouTube University. Like, I think
my gosh, yeah.
It's a wealth of information. Why wouldn't you explore it and go try it? Do it.
Yeah. And, I think people are so, I don't know if the word is scared, but it feels so overwhelming to turn something into a business.
Yeah.
When it's really not. It's like the easiest thing in the world. You need a website, and then you got to start paying the tax man. And that's about it. So
my
love
advice
that
is simplification. I really do.
If you're passionate about it, just go after it and figure it out as you go. And I know for a lot of people, that's going to be the number one thing that holds people up is like, they don't know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does.
Nobody.
Here's the secret. Nobody does. And the people who just go for it and they figure it out as they go, they're going to actually get somewhere. So just go for it and figure it out as you go.
That was one of my hardest things. I was like, well, I need to know everything about recording before I can start recording a podcast.
Yeah. No, I would have probably grabbed a microphone, hit record, and been like, okay, now what do I do?
Yeah. Well, that's something I admire. Like, I absolutely admire that in you, and it's something I'm trying to develop in myself because guess what? My first couple episodes sounded really terrible, and still to this day, they don't sound that great. But
I think that's so okay, though, because you'll see your improvement, and then that's like, sweet, look what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Well, and you had mentioned that you wanted to talk about, like, fake it till you make it, and I do think that's it's massively important in those first... Well, it's probably massively important forever, but certainly in those first few weeks, months, years of business.
Yeah. And that's why I think you figure things out as you go and you fake it till you make it. And I don't mean, when I say fake it till you make it and how I fake it till I make it is more with your confidence. Like just pretend you have the confidence of someone who's been doing this for 3 to 5 years. And your ability will eventually get up to that fake confidence level. But if you don't just go for it, you never will. And if you don't establish yourself early on as like, I'm doing this and I'm okay with it, and I know what I'm doing. You may never do it. So to me, faking it till you make it is like just your confidence and your attitude. Like,
yes,
I can do this. Like, it is possible. It will work out.
And we've seen it 1,000 times on the podcast where people will get requests to do something out of nowhere that they have no idea what to do, or they've been contacted by a company or something, mm-hmm. and it's so easy to be like, nope, I can't do that. But those are those moments where fake it till you make it is like, oh, it's just glorious. Just pretend like, that's absolutely no problem, and you'll figure it out.
You will figure it out. And there's a lot of ways to figure it out. So I think just go to Google.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing.
I'll tell you tell you some of even the specific ways I have faked it till I make it. Because a lot of people still might not know what they mean. Like when I decided to do the quilting thing, or kind of thought about the business side of it, I'm like, well, okay, I probably should have a website. So I quietly opened this website. And I started posting to it, and I didn't tell anybody about it, and I just kept posting to it. Eventually I had, a handful of posts, and then I told people about it like it's always been there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you could go to a website and it looks established. And that to me was faking it till you make it, because instead of like announcing, hey, I'm doing a website, I just made it. And I tried to make it look pretty, and I added to it and made it look like it was an established website. And I think it did look that way. So
yes. No, that's great. I think examples are so important, because people will be like, yes, I will fake it till I make it. And then not realize that an opportunity had passed them by until it's, in their rearview mirror. That's great.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's also talk about in those early days. So were you straight on to Instagram?
I was. I actually, I pretty much built my quilting business on Instagram.
Okay.
Which is kind of amazing, right?
Yeah.
We could do that.
Definitely.
And that was back in 2015. And I know Instagram is getting a little more tricky to deal with, and it's not probably as easy as it is to get followers now as it was back then, even just a couple of years ago. But I did. I had a Instagram account, and it was like my photography, my personal, everything. And then I decided to open up a separate account for quilting, because I wanted to post more quilting photos. And that surprised me how quickly that grew. And I think it grew quickly because it was all quilting all the time.
Yeah.
And it was consistent, and it was very, niche for the people who wanted quilting only. And so I was able to build that Instagram up pretty successfully. And when I even sold my first couple of patterns, it basically was just on Instagram. I will say now I've brought it off of Instagram a little bit, and I think it's so important to bring it off of Instagram, because we can't rely on Instagram forever, right?
Right.
So I think it was like my second quilt pattern, which was it actually might have been about 6 months until my next. So I released one quilt pattern. I didn't release another one. It was like 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
I started an email list.
Yay!
The magical email list. Right?
So is that what you mean when you talk about bringing it off of Instagram, where you started to pursue avenues like email lists, and was a website included with that?
Yes.
Awesome.
So my email list was probably one of the best little accidents I ever created.
Yeah.
I decided to start it way back then. I was like, well, you know what? Even if I get, 5 people on my list, I'm just going to start. It was one of those things I started quietly. Just kind of put it on my website. But yeah, so I did start on Instagram, and Instagram is still a really important place for my business. I will say it does not convert as well now as it used to back then. And I think I have a couple theories about this.
Yeah.
One is the algorithm makes it harder. And 2 is, so many people are running businesses on Instagram nowadays. So I think people get sick of being sold to on Instagram. So I think you have to be careful not to sell too much on Instagram.
I think that's a good, what am I trying to say? A good tactic anyway. Like Instagram is just so all about that the connections we're making on there. And those things kind of lead you to these sales or wanting to support people on the other side of the coin. But yeah, it's a hard thing to resist, I think.
Yes, definitely. If you use Instagram more as like a way to build an audience and then find maybe another avenue to like sell more to your audience, that's going to be a recipe for success, I think. So, and I wouldn't say I don't sell on Instagram. I definitely do, but I try to keep it more of a place to build and share and inspire, and then let people know where else they can find me. So.
Yeah, it's because it's important to let them know. I've seen gorgeous Instagrams that then lead to nowhere. I don't know where to go to find, right? I'm like, I don't know where to go to find their stuff. I don't know where they're leading me. I don't know what they want me to do next. I can't figure it out. So yeah, you have to strike that balance. Was Instagram, how did you, and like you hit on it a little bit about how Instagram's a lot different now than it was then, but were you once again using Google and these free resources to figure out how to do social media?
So I actually feel like it was an organic process to me. I love Instagram. I feel like maybe everybody would say that, but maybe not. I don't know. Yeah. So it's a place I loved hanging out on. It was just so natural to me. It was natural to want to post every day, and it was natural to want to post pretty pictures and connect with other people and search through hashtags and use hashtags. And so it was natural. So I think it built really naturally. But all of my years, even back before I had businesses, I would listen to, I'm sure you've heard of creativelive.com.
Yeah.
And so I have hours and hours and hours of Creative Live just on in the background all the time. And so I think I absorbed a lot of marketing and social media tips from that, maybe that I don't even realize. But it was natural for me to grow Instagram and use Instagram just because I loved using it so much. And I think that would be just find a platform that you love using and concentrate on that, because I have a Facebook page, but I don't really update it. Yeah. For me, it's just Instagram. I can't maintain more than one social media, so I just use Instagram.
I love that. So it starts to take off. I mean, you have this $500 launch of a pattern out of nowhere. What do those moments feel like? Are you just like, holy crap, this is a thing?
Yeah, yes. I heard it recently described as sometimes when you do this, it feels like Monopoly money, like it's like fake Monopoly money. That is how I probably felt about it. I was like, oh, wow. That's crazy. Like all of a sudden this money's in my PayPal account, from a digital product that I wasn't even sending to them. It was just automatically going to people. So that was pretty cool. The weird thing is though, I guess I had my billing job and I had a photography job, and this was my third thing, this quilting thing.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't doing a lot of time on it. It was still very hobbyish at that time. So I didn't even put out another pattern, like I said, till 7 months later. And even then I did that second pattern and I gave it to everybody for free, because I was like, oh my gosh, I love you guys so much for buying my pattern. Have this one for free. And then it is in my shop now and you can purchase it now. But at that time I gave it to those people who were following me and, I just appreciated so much for what they were doing for me. So I sold that one 7 months later. And then like I said, I didn't really sell it. I gave it away. I sell it now. And then about a year after my first pattern, I did a third pattern that I sold and launched. And that month I made $900. So that was my second official online launch. I had a small email list. My Instagram was 5,000 followers. So even my first pattern, I think I had 2,700 Instagram followers, and that was it.
Yeah. Wow.
So you can, you don't need a massive following to do any of this stuff online. You just need people who are there for what you are offering.
Yeah, absolutely. That is interesting because I've heard it a lot that you have to have these numbers. There are women in the community that'll be like, no, I can't, Kate. I just can't do it. I only have this many followers and I'm not going to be able to make any money on it. So I don't know what to do. And they're already counting themselves out so early in the game.
No, 2,700 Instagram followers. I made $500 off of my Instagram followers because that was the only place I sold that pattern. I didn't have an email list. I was barely on Pinterest. So it's definitely possible. That's why I think it's so important to grow an organic audience of people who want to be there and are there, because that's going to be way more valuable than all of these numbers who are, I'm not sure where you pick them up from, which hashtag you pick them up from.
Yeah.
I've never, and some people say stuff every Instagram post with like the maximum amount of hashtags. I have never done that ever.
No. Do you use any hashtags?
I do, but I pick like 5, not even 10, like 5 to 10 max of like just very relevant hashtags to what I'm posting. And that's all I do. I only want to get those people there who are actually interested in what I'm posting.
Oh, yes. That's amazing, because it's easy to get caught up in the numbers and just want to have, 50,000 people following you. But
yeah, and I think it can be deceiving when you look at people's numbers. People will assume, well, they must be so successful because they have 50,000 people. And I don't think that's always the case.
Right. No, it's so different. What opened my eyes to that was when I started doing the podcast. So I always wanted the most numbers. And then I started realizing these people that have maybe what would be considered like less followers. One of the guests had like 20,000 followers at the time. And within 24 hours of the episode being out, it was downloaded like 1,000 times. Because they just had such a dedicated tribe that they had built. They had built such trust with the people that were following them. They had given them such value in everything that they did that they knew, okay, I can trust that this isn't going to be, to put it as sweetly as I can, it's not going to be garbage.
Yeah. That would be my number one piece of advice for anybody who's got an Instagram following of any size. Nurture the people who are there. Like, just talk to the people who are there. Yeah. And more will come. But don't worry. We all love the numbers, don't we? Because it just makes us feel good. But seriously,
it's exciting.
If you have 500 people there, talk to the 500 people who are there. And I think naturally, then more people will gravitate to what you're telling those 500 people initially. So
was that your number one growth tactic? Is that the number one thing that you employed, was just like really building this community and knowing these people and talking to them? And is that how you got it?
Yeah, I've never really had a growth strategy with Instagram.
That's okay.
For me, it was just always just showing up and being there and posting consistently and using hashtags and connecting. A big part actually is connecting with other people on Instagram. So you can't just stay in your own little bubble, post and, think people are going to show up. You actually have to get out and communicate with other people within your, niche or whatever too. Which is fun. If you love what you're doing, it's fun. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there's some experts out there who have a better growth strategy than I do.
No, I've heard it a lot. Honestly, I think it's the one tip that I've heard, because I listen to various podcasts, join any free, I'm all about free help because people are out there really putting out that free help for real. And I think that's the number one thing that everybody kind of agrees on across the board is like genuinely connecting with your audience. Or else, if you aren't doing that and you're just collecting numbers, then what are you doing?
Yeah. And honestly, the smaller your audience, the easier that is to do. One of my fears is that I think people might start looking at numbers and think I'm unapproachable. And I even get like some of the messages come through that way, like I'm too busy or unapproachable, or like I might not even see their message. And it kind of makes me laugh because that's not the case. Yeah. And I don't ever want that to be the case. So when it gets to be the case, that will be sad. So that's why I think just nurture who's there and continue to connect.
Well, yeah.
People respond.
And you always have awesome things that you're sharing about your day-to-day life on your Instagram stories. So that's another way.
Oh gosh, Instagram stories.
Yeah.
If you want to grow your following, use Instagram stories too. Actually, if you want to grow your tribe or your loyal tribe, use Instagram stories. It's important.
It's amazing. It really is. Like, I have a dog that I put on Instagram stories a lot. And then people will be like, where's Alfie? We haven't seen him in a while. Is he doing okay? What?
Yes.
Why do you care about my dog? But they do, and I love it.
People connect. Isn't that crazy? Like, they will connect. And I don't think people realize how powerful that is to use your face or your life or little tidbits like your dog to connect.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Because you've shared and you've shared your family too. We've seen your brother on there. So that brings a whole.
I like to talk about my brother. Yeah.
Yeah. So that brings a whole nother element too.
Yeah. And you don't have to share your life story, because I certainly don't share my life story. But there's little tidbits, just like people like little tidbits into what's going on. And I think you can have a good boundary of how far you will go and how far you won't, and just stick with it. But and I will say, for anybody who's scared of doing stories, I mean, they've been out for a while now, so most people are used to them. But the first one I did, oh my gosh, I had to redo it 7 times because my voice was shaking. I was so scared.
I love it. I love it.
And then I just started them more and more and more. And the weirdest thing happened when I started doing them more, and it just blew me away. Everybody kept messaging me and telling me that they liked them, or like that they loved, but they liked what I was sharing and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is weird. People actually like this stuff. It's like this little, mindless stuff. But I think you give people little glimpses into what you're doing, and it's a very powerful tool, and people feel very connected to that, which is cool.
Well, and I always tell people, like, don't you want to connect with the people you're buying from and learning from? And, like, just think about what you want to do. You like to know those things, so do it. I posted one where I had makeup on from the night before, and I still had eyeliner on one eye and not on the other. And I was talking to the camera, and somebody was like, well, that's real life. Wow. I was like, yep.
People can relate to that, like, weird, crazy stuff that, a lot of us try to pretend like doesn't happen.
I'm like, exactly. So it can be terrifying. I am a big advocate of getting your face out there as part of your brand. Just like posting your face on Instagram sometimes in your feed. Don't be afraid to post it in your feed. But I do think a lot of people are really nervous. Their makeup's not right. Maybe they aren't the weight that they really want to be, or whatever. But I think I'm a big advocate of letting that go and really just connecting with your audience.
Yeah, and I think they'll appreciate you for being more real. So, yeah. I don't know if you follow Jenna Kutcher.
Yeah.
Gold Digger. Yeah. She just did an experiment where she posted her face, I think, for 30 straight days on her Instagram. And her Instagram, what'd she say, doubled or tripled?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Because people want to relate. They want to connect with the person who's on that little screen. So
that makes sense.
And I find that for myself too, it's like, who do we connect better with? It's the people who we hear talking, we see their face and stuff like that. So
that makes absolute sense. She's the person who helps me remember, because I preach it. How about this? Mm-hmm. I preach it and then I don't do it. So I realized, wait, my face hasn't been on my feed in forever, and I'm telling people to do it. What am I thinking? But it is easy to go, people don't. Okay, well, people want to see you, but they don't want to see, they don't have to see me. That's okay. They don't have to see me. But I realized the hypocrisy there. Jenna Kutcher helped me push it out there, and just get out there. We want to see you guys. What do you think is your, I love this connection. So I guess your number one tip is like, just connecting with your tribe. Do you have any other, was there ever a tidbit that you have learned about Instagram or heard about Instagram that really just, I don't even want to, because it's not, I think we've hit that it's not about growing your following. It's about making the better connections, maybe meeting somebody that really helped your business, whatever it is. Is there anything that's really happened there that's been just kind of magic for you on Instagram?
I don't say one particular thing, but I just think I've met really cool people, and I've met some of my really good friends through Instagram, which is really kind of bizarre.
Isn't that funny?
But that's just, I think that's how it is these days.
That's true. Yeah.
No, I think it's just being open to where it actually could take you. And it's not going to take you anywhere if you hide behind it. So you actually have to put yourself out there, and put your face out there, and put your intentions out there, like what you actually do out there.
Yeah.
And you just don't know. I think most of my gigs have come through Instagram. Even like I'm writing a quilt book right now. She found me on Instagram. My editor found me on Instagram. And that's just how most of my things have come about, is just showing up on Instagram and doing my thing.
Yeah, doing your thing. I love that. Yeah. I just did training with Bernina to be a part of their event team. And one of the things that they said was, you never know who's in your audience. And me coming from Instagram world, I'm thinking, duh. Oh my gosh. Yes. Like, not just in these classes that I'll end up teaching, but in the world, you don't know who you're talking to at that moment. And you just got to keep, put that best face forward.
And even those people who have reached out, who said they found me on Instagram, it has surprised me that I was like, I didn't even know they knew I was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't know who's listening, and just talk to the people out there like you want everybody to hear you, I guess.
Yes. I love it. So let's go back. I love that you shared like actual numbers with us about the launch of your first your first couple patterns. So when did you have to, you had mentioned about a business mindset. So did you have a business mindset from day one, or was there a moment where you realized, holy crap, I have to put a business cap on here and really treat this like a business?
I had a business mindset from day one. I don't even know where this came from, to be honest with you. But even back when I started my photography, I had it in my mind that I couldn't accept a single dollar until I was a business, which is not always the way you have to do things, because figuring things out as you go is very valid too.
Right.
But so I think I always had that business mindset. So I resisted turning quilting into a business because I knew the second I made even $1 from it, it was going to be a business. So day one was like, well, here we go. I have a business, and it's called Quilty Love, and I'm going to register it with the IRS and set it all up and make it a business. So I always did, but I think more the mindset too is like believing if it can be successful or not.
Yeah.
And obviously $500 the first month is motivating to think, oh my gosh, if I made $500 this first month, what could I do a year from now?
Right.
But there's also that doubt that creeps in. And I know for me, I have a lot of my own personal things, like I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I don't have a college degree. Who am I to do this? Like, who am I to make any more money than my husband makes? Like that kind of stuff, because I don't have that college degree or anything to back it up. So that has been an ongoing struggle for probably the past 5 years of like, I am allowed to do this. I am allowed to make money. And you know what? I actually like doing that. And I can be successful, and it's okay to be successful. And that's actually been kind of a new challenge for me, is just really changing that mindset of like, don't put a cap on what I have to earn every month. And it's okay to make a lot of money every month. And I plan to make a lot of money every month. But I've had a lot of help with that. I listen to podcasts and people who talk a lot about that kind of stuff, and just more like just believing it's possible and not limiting, I guess, getting rid of your limited beliefs. We've all heard of that phrase, right? And I have a lot of limited beliefs that I've been trying to knock down over the years. And the craziest thing is that as I work through them and I think about what they are and I address them, I can't get past them. And I'm earning more quilting than I've ever earned in my life. And it's actually blown me away as to how well this business is done. And it feels a little bit like it's a fluke, because that's another one of those mindset things, like, this is a fluke, this is a fluke. But it's been consistently growing and doing well. And I have to start believing that, no, this isn't a fluke. It's actually successful because of all the work I put into it too. So
absolutely. And that is hard. It's something we deal with a lot. I've heard a lot about it, is everybody who is saying, like, ultimately when you get down to the root of it, understanding that you are deserving of being successful, you are deserving of making more money and wanting to make more money. That is okay. That doesn't make you greedy. You're allowed to do this. You're allowed to not necessarily know anything about business and still do well in it. It's a weird mental block, isn't it?
and I don't know if us as women struggle with it more or what, but I think it's probably a very common thing among most women to believe you're deserving of making money, especially when it comes from something as fun as your passion.
Yes.
So I think that's probably a lot of it too, is like, but this is so fun.
Right.
I stay home and I quilt all day. Like, how can I be making an income from this?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But,
and I've heard it a lot where, let's say you're making a certain amount of money, and that's okay, and that's good. It's a good amount of money. You're excited about it, but you want to make more. And a lot of women, even women I'm very close to, will be like, they'll have to check in and be like, okay, that's not greedy, right? That's not egotistical, right? And I'm like, no. Hell no, it's not. You deserve to make a butt ton of money, and you deserve to be extremely successful at this. And yeah, absolutely. That's not greedy, or you're an egomaniac for wanting to do that. No, just no.
No. Yeah. And, nobody even has to know that you made it. And I think with, when the business does bring in money like that, it just gives you so many options though too. And it gives you maybe like freedom in your life that you never even thought was possible.
Yeah.
It allows you to do really cool things like help other people with it too. So.
Well, that's the best, right? It's like,
yeah.
I'm always trying to remind people like, well, are you just putting it in a room and swimming in it like Scrooge McDuck? Like, no, you have children, you have a family you have to support. You have, those kids are going to need cars and college and all these things. College. So yeah, it's best for everybody if you are believing in yourself, believing in your business, and succeeding. It's great for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that success is going to look different for everybody. What I might think is, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can make this. It might not be enough for somebody else, or vice versa. Somebody might be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you do make that. But it doesn't even matter what the numbers are. It's just whatever you feel is successful, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So. Yeah. And if you have a partner or not, and if, you have somebody there who can maybe cover bills while you jump into this scary endeavor, or, you don't. Maybe you do have a partner there, but you guys just aren't financially in that place. It's totally fine. But just keep striving and kicking butt in your business, man. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Just keep doing it. I always get so excited about it.
Yeah. And I think too, being realistic about what your numbers actually have to look like, because when you're self-employed, those numbers have to be a lot higher than when you're with an employer. And I think that might be something people forget about. Nobody pays your taxes for you. You have to pay them yourself. Nobody pays your health care unless you have a partner who has health insurance.
Yeah.
And nobody's putting aside money into a 401k for you unless you do it yourself, type of thing. So those numbers actually sometimes have to be scary high just to make ends meet.
Right.
And this, I think, knowing your numbers is a big thing. And that's why I've learned this over the past 15 years, but even for somebody else was a huge benefit, because I had to learn how to get paid and pay myself and pay taxes. That was actually a really scary mistake I made. My first year, I didn't pay enough taxes.
Oops.
Which, when you're 22 years old, newly married, and have a baby, is pretty devastating.
Yeah, I bet.
So you have to learn how to do this stuff. But that's why I think I'm a big advocate of knowing your numbers immediately, learning how to pay yourself immediately, and then you'll understand actually how much money you have to bring in every month just to get an X amount of paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah. After you pay your taxes, after you pay your expenses and stuff like that.
So how are you able to know those numbers?
So I learned it the hard way. My first couple of years, self-employed, making that tax mistake was like, well, I'm not going to let that happen again. So I did a lot of research, and then I figured out, you actually need to set aside a certain percentage every month for taxes. That's going to vary, obviously, for everybody drastically, talking to an accountant. But I actually wrote a blog post all about paying yourself as a creative.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's still one of my favorites. You can find it. It's at quiltylove.com/pay yourself. And I actually have a spreadsheet there that you can download, but you plug in your numbers and it will suggest all of the different ways your money needs to go every month. Like I suggest saving a percentage of it like into a savings account, just straight into a savings account, putting aside a certain percentage for taxes. Like at the very least, if you don't even talk to an accountant, at least put 20% aside for taxes into a separate account. Don't ever touch it. Pay your tax bill with it and it'll be painless. And then you have money every month for your expenses, which is going to be for most people a percentage of your business. And then your paycheck. Like pay yourself a paycheck. Like give yourself a percentage every month and that's your paycheck. And I do that religiously every month. It's usually the first of the month, like June 1st for May, you know. And that's a really fun day because I get to get paid. So.
Yeah. And how much fun is that? Like that money that you have created, that money that you have control over. I'm sure I'm not going to discount there are scary months. But I mean, wow. How empowering is that?
Are obviously better than us, but I think it is because I think knowing your numbers is so important because then you know where you want to go.
Yeah.
Like how can you know I want to make, you know, $100,000 next year, but you don't even know how much you have to bring in to make $100,000. Just because you brought in $100,000 doesn't mean you made $100,000.
Right.
So I think tracking that every month is just motivating to know. And then plus every month you get to see, did I do better or worse than last month? Why did I do better or worse than last month? And what can I do differently to make this month better?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm sure knowing your numbers is the key factor in doing what you did, which was quitting your day job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I waited way too long to quit my day job. I was so scared, like probably most people are. It's so nice to get it. Even though I was self-employed, I got a paycheck steadily at a certain time every month. But yes, how do you quit your day job if you have no idea if your creative endeavor or your new business is going to support your day job income? Right. So tracking that, you know. And so a weird thing happened though when I quit my day job. I don't know. I had matched my income, I guess, a long time ago with my photography and everything else, whatever. I was just too scared to quit. And, but a weird thing happened when I quit my day job and I concentrated on the quilting. That's when the quilting business really took off because obviously I gave it all my time and attention. So
yeah,
there's that.
Yeah. And how long ago did you quit your day job, did you say?
So it was a year in April. So
wow.
just over a year. Yep. And this past year has just blown me away. Just because it's been my only focus has been the quilting thing. And I didn't have my day job in the way anymore when I wanted to work on quilting. So
yeah, that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's the dream for everybody. I mean, I think it's a dream for pretty much everybody listening. Certainly the dream for me, right? And
yeah,
I love that you can track it and you're kind of in control of it, you know? I mean, you're very much in control of it.
And it definitely took a leap of faith. You know, I knew what I had to do to match it, and I thought I could at least match it fine. But it still takes a leap of faith to know it's going to work out.
Yeah.
And looking back a year from now, and my day job I would call it more of a part-time. It wasn't a full-time salary type of thing, but it was a decent, good part-time salary that I matched. And I just never could have guessed a year in that I should have quit my day job 6 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fantastic.
But just sometimes it's taking that leap of faith, and sometimes it's also being realistic of, is this really going to work out or not? So,
Emily, this has been so much fun. Like, I feel like we're going to have a part 2.
Oh gosh, yeah, that flew right by, didn't it?
Yeah, it flew right by. And you've put so much amazing information into this episode. Like, I'm so excited to share this. This is going to be fantastic for everybody. So before you go, we have to do the 3 Creative Women's League musts. I hear the pages flipping.
Let's do it. Yeah.
It's like, where did I write that down? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So number 1 is, what is one thing every badass woman should read, watch, or listen to?
Oh, okay. So these questions were hard for me because I can't say there's one specific source or person that I, get all my information from, which I think is a good thing. But lately, one of my favorite podcasts that I've been digging is Being Boss.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes.
I just get so inspired by those girls. I think they're real, they're funny, and they're inspiring. So Go check them out.
Perfect. And all this information will be in the show description. So, okay. And then we have who is one woman we should all go follow right now.
Oh, again, I kind of struggled with this one.
Yeah.
It's kind of surprising to me. I guess, because I'm thinking like Instagram, but I don't follow a lot of these people on Instagram. I listen more to their podcasts or in other ways. But actually, I'll give a little shout out to my friend Leah of Vienna_Glenn. She inspires me because, she always she knows how to say things in the best way, and she's killing it in her business, and it just inspires me. She's Perfect. A photographer. And then I would say a couple other ones was obviously the Being Boss Girls. I enjoy Jenna Kutcher and just her realness and what she's done with her small town living type of thing.
Yeah.
And can I give you one more?
Of course you can.
There's one more that I've been really inspired by, and it's The Lively Show. I don't know if you've ever listened to Jess from The Lively Show.
No.
She has probably been the number one way I've been getting through my mindset issues of limited beliefs. So check out The Lively Show.
Yes. Okay. I'm into that for sure. We're going to have all of that down there. And now I have new podcast to dig on. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, what is one mantra, quote, or affirmation that you lean on often?
So again, that one was a little bit hard for me, but the one thing I've been working on this year is just my word. My word of the year is abundance. And it's just believing there's no limits. I
love that. I loved your post about abundance. I loved all of it. So, and that ties all into what we were just talking about, right? With those self-limiting beliefs and these doubts and things that we put on ourselves, but not this year,
I think if you can work through, I know you work through those things, you'll be amazed at where you can go. So.
Yeah. And I think, it's something we didn't mention at all. You're also going to have an abundance of children.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yes, that's right.
The Dennis family is just in abundance.
There will be another child in the Dennis family. This work-at-home mom with no kids at home is changing. My baby is 10. So my kids have been in school full time for many years. And in December, we'll have a baby in this house. And I'm going to have to learn how to navigate working from home with a baby, which is what I have never done before. So that should be interesting.
Yeah. Well, okay. So we already know what the next time you come on the podcast is going to be about. You'll have to talk about what it's like to be at home with a baby for the first time, even though it's not your first baby.
I imagine a lot of people are going to relate to something like that, which I kind of always felt bad about because my kids were always almost in school or in school when I did this business thing, and that won't be the case this time. So yeah. Well, lots of changes coming next year.
I know. So exciting. So exciting. Well, thank you so much, Emily. I mean, gosh, that hour flew by so fast.
Yeah, that was fun.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me. I hope we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, right? Don't you love this episode? I hear from you guys a lot about episodes that you play 2 or 3 times to make sure you've got all that information, and this will definitely be one of them. Thank you so much to Emily for coming on the show and being so honest and open and insightful. And of course, don't forget to go follow The Wild Sweet Pea. They are the sponsor of this podcast, the lovely Paige Anderson over there. If you are one of the quilters tuning in, she's got great content for you. Trust me, you're going to love it. And of course, if you want to support the Creative Women's League podcast, you just hit that subscribe button. It is so important. Hitting that subscribe button and sending this podcast to your friends so that they too may hit the subscribe button. That is what makes this podcast and any podcast you listen to do wonderful things in the world. Join us over on Instagram at Creative Women's League and in the Facebook group, Creative Women's League on Facebook. You can like the page, you can join the community. I'll see you on Friday with a new blog post. Get over there. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Mwah.
you're still here, it's over. Go home.